Hello Internet, and welcome to the Cultural Callison Vlog. I'll be using video technology to do comic reviews from now on because I finally joined the technological curve of 2005 and figured out how to use this damn webcam. I do plan to finish my Geoff Johns Green Lantern retrospective through Blackest Night, but since I got sidetracked with finally finding a job and then the holidays and such, I need to reread Sinestro Corps War and reread my own writings to make sure I don't repeat any points I've already made. So, especially what with this video technology, I've only got so much time to talk. So instead, I thought I would discuss the most recent Spider-Man storyline that finally finished up this past week. Big time. The brand spanking new status quo following up the conclusion of the Brand New Day era and format. For those who have not read the new story, just know that Dan Slott is the writer. You're going to have rotating artistic teams for each storyline. It's a larger format issue, and it's bi-weekly as opposed to 3 times a month. So it's a lot easier, I think, to advertise, promote, and generally produce, and to create a better quality product. Brand New Day was uneven, to say the least. When it was good, it was very good, but when it was bad, oh, it sucked. Anything with the Freak tended to suck. Origin of the Species sucked. Anyway, so that's the new format, and now I'm going to talk about the content. And if you haven't read it yet, I'm going to spoil this thing like Homer Simpson spoiled Empire. So you should probably stop right here if you care about such things. But if not, then you got a new direction, you have a new status quo. Peter has a job now. He is working at a think tank called Horizon Labs. Marla Jameson got him the job. I like Marla, which I hope she is used more in the future. And we're introduced to his new coworkers right now. They're mostly unremarkable. They haven't really had a chance to do anything yet. But that's not the big draw. The big draw to get us back here, to get everyone to pay attention, is the return of the Hobgoblin. Or is it? Because Roderick Kingsley comes back, the Kingpin calls him back to do a job, and he's on the book for about 3 pages before he is brutally decapitated. Kind of a slap in the face. If it was anyone else but a goblin, I would be a little more pissed off, but it's a goblin. They come back. I don't care what the new goblin says. The Hobgoblin will come back. I look forward to Roderick Kingsley showing up with some badass stitch scars on his neck. Slott was very careful not to show what happened to his body. For all we know, his head is already splurching back on. Deadpool can get his head back on. Why can't Roddy? Roddy's a great villain. I am eagerly awaiting his real return. But for now, we've got Phil Urich as the Hobgoblin. For those people who had never heard of Phil before this storyline, Phil was the Green Goblin for about 3 hours back in the 1990s, and he was a heroic Green Goblin. And he kind of sucked at his job. By the end of his series, he had he'd become a real hero, but before then, he just kind of sucked at it. And that was pretty much the last I ever heard of him. Apparently, he guest starred in Runaways and in a 4-issue Runaways spin-off series called The Loners, where it was apparently revealed that he's kind of been losing his mind for a while now. Goblins are about as cursed as Batman in the Marvel Universe. So a lot of people were taken by surprise to how quickly he just flipped out and became evil, but apparently the groundwork had already been laid, and this just reinforces that you really shouldn't get into an argument with Dan Slott about continuity. Dan Slott knows his continuity. Dan Slott also knows how to write old-school bombastic superhero action, and that carries through very clearly, I thought, especially in the first issue 648, I believe it was. it's actually kind of heavy-handed in how obvious it is, and we are setting up the new status quo. This is we are assuming you've never read a Spider-Man comic before, so here he is. He's on the Avengers. Peter Parker's a scientific genius. These are the people he knows. These are some of his enemies, and I'm not going to talk here about Doctor Octopus's plot or the Alistar Smythe and Scorpion subplot, because that's going to pay off. The Spider Slayer plot is apparently going to pay off next issue when that storyline starts. And Doctor Octopus really doesn't do anything. He's got a new Sinister Six, and okay, yeah, he attacks the city with giant octopus robots. But you live in Marvel Universe New York, and sometimes you just have to deal with giant octopus robots. That's the kind of thing that just happens. You just learn to live with it because you're an idiot and you live in Marvel Universe New York. You live in DC Universe New York. Sinestro Corps shows up once. You deal with the Seven Soldiers of Victory. You got this. You're not in Gotham. You're not in Metropolis. Never live in real world New York. Real world New York sucks. So yeah, we start with the very obvious. This is a new storyline stuff. But once you get past that, it flows very organically. I thought. Hobgoblin is working for the Kingpin. That is Phil Urich's main goal here, is to become the Kingpin's #1 guy. And I say #1 guy exactly the way Jack Nicholson's Joker says #1 guy, because Kingpin will kill you dead. We might have lost Montana in some of the chaos. Montana of the Enforcers may be dead, and I hope not, because the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon proved how awesome Montana is, even when he's not the Shocker. But Cowboy Shocker is still incredibly cool. I'm kind of rambling. The Hobgoblin rambles as well. Phil Urich just goes nuts. He's very obviously set up to be the anti-Spidey, the anti-Peter Parker, a very dark image of what Peter Parker could have been. And that at the end of the storyline is what sold me on the character, on the new direction for the character anyway. I wasn't a fan of replacing Roderick Kingsley, who had this great storyline through the 1980s. It unfortunately went off the rails, but started great. He was this mysterious mastermind villain. And oh, by the way, Marvel, I still want my Origin of the Hobgoblin premiere hardcover. You put Torment into hardcover form. You gotta put something good in hardcover form. It's just common sense. And you replace this mastermind villain. Even Macendale, he might have just been a thug, but he was ex-CIA mercenary type. It was still cool. So you've gone from mastermind, CIA mercenary assassin, college dropout. Yeah, it did not seem immediately advantageous, but by the end of the story, I realized that they basically turned Hobgoblin into Eddie Brock from Spider-Man 3. And I loved Eddie in Spider-Man 3. Of course, I'm the guy who liked Spider-Man 3, so your mileage may vary. You should probably take my opinions with a grain of salt. So they've got that set up. There's not an immediate payoff, which is something I actually liked. Because Hobgoblin gets away, Kingpin will call on him in the future, but no one unmasked him, no one arrested him. He's free and clear, and you realize that this is something that is going to continue to be played with throughout Slott's run, and he's going to have a rivalry with Peter. He's going to be the anti-Peter. So there's a lot of potential there. It also kind of reminds me of the 1990s Spider-Man animated series Hobgoblin, who turned out in his civilian identity was dating Felicia Hardy, a woman Peter pined for. And Phil Urich pines for Nora Winters, who is dating Randy Robertson. And why we're missing the opportunity with Peter dating Nora Winters is beyond me. Because, of course, Peter has to date Carly Cooper. And this is the only time I'm going to go on record with this, because it's going to continue to be an issue with Slott's run as long as he's dating Carly Cooper. Carly Cooper is boring. She is the blandest of the new characters introduced from the Brand New Day starting storyline. Um, Vin Gonzalez, Michelle Gonzalez, Nora Winters, um, Lily, friggin' Menace was more interesting as civilian character, not even as her super villain persona, than Carly Cooper. Carly is bland, and she spells Carly wrong. My sister's a Carly, and she spells it with a Y. But okay, well maybe I can't hold that against her. But she's had girlfriend tattooed on her head since day one, and then she's here, she's boring, and we're just gonna have to deal with her. I was not. I mean, this is a downgrade from Mary Jane. If we're going to put him in a relationship, we should. We're missing the opportunity because Nora Winters, I thought, was the most fun of the new female supporting cast, and she could just banter right back at Pete. She has Spidey levels of banter sometimes, and she is dating Randy Robertson. Carly Cooper should be dating Randy Robertson. They're both incredibly bland. The only danger is that their combined blandness might cause them to just cease to exist, which would not particularly bother me because I don't think I'd even notice. But other than the romantic subplot just not interesting me at all because of Carly Cooper not interesting me at all, I'm actually feeling better about the title than I have in a long time. So if you left because of Brand New Day or One More Day, or you just haven't been interested in Spidey lately, I really would I would recommend checking it out. If you really love Roderick Kingsley, I don't think he's dead. I mean, okay, yeah, he got his head cut off, but goblins. Norman has a giant ass scar on his chest from where he got impaled through the heart with steel, and he's still walking around. Uh, Goblins are very manly men, and they can take some punishment. Um, and I'm actually kind of hoping that let's give Phil a new series again. I would love to read the new Hobgoblin in his own series. Actually, I have to have some Goblin related monthly once the Osborn series is over and Dark Avengers petered out. Um, but yeah, if you if you have not tried Spidey in a while, I'd recommend giving this a shot. There's the new costume he designed just for this issue as well, and it might show up again, but it's pretty unremarkable actually. It just shows that Peter's a scientist, he's a thinker. And it sets up a lot to do more with in the future. The Venom symbiote is off of Gargan, so that's going to lead into the new Venom series, which I am cautiously optimistic about. Can't be any worse than Daniel Way's Venom series, which of course is getting an omnibus collection, and Warren Ellis's Thunderbolts is not, and I just want to shake the Marvel reprint editor and scream at him for a while, but that's just me. That's just my tastes. But clearly, you've been subjected to them. So next time, I will hopefully have my thoughts and retrospective on Sinestro Corps War from DC Comics, the storyline that got me into the Green Lantern books, and pretty much sets up everything that title has done since 2007. So it's pretty big, and it's fairly awesome. Sinestro is an awesome villain. And in the future, I plan to actually tackle. Oh my God, I plan to talk about Grant Morrison's Batman. Yeah, I'm gonna need I'm going to need a lot more film to talk about all of that. So thanks for stopping by, and I will check you later.